everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Pet Watch, the monthly show right here from the Whatcom Humane Society. I'm Laura Clark, director of the Whatcom Humane Society, and your host for the next few minutes. And no, we are not at our normal shelter location on Division Street in Bellingham. Instead, today, we are at the Whatcom Humane Society farm facility out in eastern Whatcom County. It is a beautiful winter day. It is a little chilly, I'm not going to lie, but what a glorious day to be here. We have a special guest with us today, Dr. David Sauter from Kulshan Veterinary Hospital. Here, he's going to treat one of our horses in our care. We're going to meet some of the horses and other animals currently available for adoption, learn a lot about basic horse care, and it is going to be a great show. I know you're going to love it. So get comfy on the couch with your 2- and 4-legged friends. Bring the horses on in. They aren't going to want to miss this either, and we'll be right back with a great show.
There are thousands of dogs and cats housed in shelters that need your help. Local shelter professionals and volunteers give their heart and soul to help unwanted animals and deserve your support. Americans give millions every year to national animal organizations, but unless you give to your local shelter, you can't be sure that money will make it to the pets that need it most. Adopt, volunteer, and give to your local animal shelter. To find your local shelter, go to humaneforpets.org.
Hey folks, we are here at the Whatcom Humane Society farm facility in eastern Whatcom County, and we have a real treat. With us today is Dr. David Sauter, a large animal veterinarian with Kulshan Veterinary Hospital out of Linden, who are really the vet hospital for horses and livestock, and Dr. Sauter is Whatcom County's horse whisperer. So thank you so much. So Dr. Sauter, you're here today to treat one of the horses in our care, and we're going to talk about him in a second. But while we have you, it's cold, it's Whatcom County winter. For those folks out there who are either thinking of getting a horse or might be new horse owners, what are some things they really need to be concerned about or look about during these wintertime months?
Well, I think one of the things would be shelter, proper shelter. In the harsh weather, the horses need, some opportunity to get out of the harsh weather. And so just having proper sheltering so that they can get out of the wind and the cold for at least part of the day is important. I think another aspect that sometimes people overcompensate for the harsh weather, and sometimes they confine their horses excessively. So I think another important aspect is exercise and turnout. So even though the weather might be harsh, in most conditions you still want to get your horse outside because it's important for them to be moving around. You think about the size of a horse and the size of a box stall, it'd be like us being in a small room all day long. And motion is lotion for those older horses. Get them moving around even when the weather is bad, even if it's just for a few hours a day. Getting them outside, getting some exercise is important too.
That is so important to remember. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is, so the horse behind us is wearing a blanket, a coat, basically. I hear a lot when you talk to 5 different horse people, you get 5 different answers. So when should you worry about putting coats on your animals or letting them be outside without that type of protection?
I think the combination of wet and cold is what really saps the energy out of a horse, and it's really tough on them. So I think once the temperature gets down below 40, and actually that temperature range between 30 and 40 degrees is sometimes harder on them than when it's freezing outside, and that's because it's wet. The wet and the cold combined really take a lot out of a horse, especially the older horses. So those horses need to be blanketed. And especially, if the northeaster's blowing too, that would be another time to keep the horses blanketed. They just need that extra protection, not only for warmth, but to protect the skin. That cold rain that's constantly coming down is really hard on the skin over their back and can cause some skin diseases.
Great tips. While I have you here, and I know you got to get to this horse, but hoof care. It's muddy and wet. I mean, we're out here today on a beautiful day. The ground is hard, but usually in a Whatcom County winter, you got that mud and it's just soft. Does that affect a horse or a goat or a pig's hooves, and are there things people need to look at?
Certainly it does, especially if you start mixing that mud with excrement, their manure. It creates a lot of, really bad bacteria that can cause foot diseases and problems. And so trying to have a sacrifice area that separates the horses from the mud with some sort of barrier, whether that be gravel or hog fuel, but you try to address that issue as well. One other thing I wanted to mention about the cold weather too is water. Horses will drink warm water better than they will freezing cold water. So, and that's always a concern in the winter is making sure horses are drinking enough so that they don't get colic. And colic is abdominal pain or gut pain, and is a common problem with horses. We have certainly more colic cases in the winter months. So making sure they get some warm water at least a couple times a day will improve their water consumption.
Now, there's bucket warmers, there's ways people can keep their horse or their other livestock's water from freezing. What do you recommend?
Well, bucket waters are great because that's going to help keep the water from freezing. But still, especially for the older horse, to offer them some warmer water. The bucket warmers will keep the water from freezing, but it's still pretty darn cold. Yeah. So to offer them some warm water from the house, or wherever you have a water heater, of course, I think certainly helps with water consumption. And that's going to help prevent colic.
Wonderful. If you are in Whatcom County or wherever you're watching this and you see an animal in need, you see a horse in need, we get a lot of calls, our animal control department. It's a skinny horse. What should people really be looking at when they think they see an animal in need?
Well, if it's a neighbor, you might try to find out a little bit more about what's going on if you have good relationship with your neighbors. Some older horses have real difficulty maintaining body weight, and it may not be because of neglect from the owner. It might be that the owner's doing everything they can to try to keep weight on that individual horse. So it's, try to find out more information if possible. But when in doubt, we're always concerned about the welfare of the animal. And so if you're not, you don't feel comfortable approaching your neighbor, or if you see a situation that really just looks very bad, certainly give a call and at least get it investigated to see what's going on. And just because the Humane Society comes out doesn't mean it's going to cause any kind of legal action, but it will at least get the process started to make sure that animal is getting proper care.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of everyone at the Whatcom Humane Society, I want to thank Dr. Sauter and all the veterinarians at Kulshan Veterinary Hospital. These folks do so much work out here at our farm facility, taking care of the horses and the pigs and the alpacas and whatever else comes through our doors. You guys are great friends to the animals. We're going to put up contact information, if you have a large animal or a small animal, this hospital takes care of both, if you want to get in touch with these fine folks. So you are getting ready to do what we call a teeth float, or a float on Mojo's teeth. Tell us a little bit about Mojo. He's been at our facility for a little while under your care, and what you're doing for him today and why it's so important.
Well, when Mojo arrived, he was emaciated and really poor body condition. When we examined him, we really didn't find too much wrong except for in his mouth. He does have some serious dental problems. And we decided that we would wait until he was stronger, till we got some weight on him before we would address those dental issues. Because when we do dental procedures on horses, we have to tranquilize them pretty heavily. It's kind of a stressful procedure to do, so we wanted to wait until he was prepared for that. And so we're going to do that today.
Now, most people may not know that horses need regular work done on their mouths. Why is that so important? What's going on with the horse's mouth in general?
Well, before I answer that question, I always like to, people often ask, why do horses need their teeth floated, and why do they need that additional care? And I like to ask them back, why do you go to the dentist? And because teeth are part of the body too, and they require care just like everything else does. Horses in particular have kind of a special situation in that their teeth continually grow their entire life. They have what's called reserve crown. And because of the harsh food that they eat, the fiber that they eat, their teeth wear a few millimeters every year. And as the crown wears, new crown erupts until they get to be very, very old and they run out of reserve crown. And then their teeth just wear out completely. If they make it into their 30s or 40s, that's what will happen. But because their teeth continually erupt, any irregularities get progressively worse, and that's what we want to try to prevent. Like in his case, his mouth is in such severe condition, there's no way we can correct it. All I can do is try to make him a little more comfortable. But if we had started doing dental work on him as a young horse, we could have prevented that.
So hopefully today the work you're going to do is going to be the start of making him more comfortable, allowing him to eat more comfortably, help him gain some weight, and then hopefully we can place him into a new home.
Yes, chewing is the first part of digestion. And so if the teeth are not working properly, you're starting that whole digestive process. It's not getting a good start. So.
Okay, I'm going to warn folks. Dr. Sauter has allowed us to film this procedure. If you have fears of the dentist, this may not be the segment you're going to want to watch. It's pretty hardcore. So this may be a time you're going to want to get up and go make yourself a snack and come on back. We're going to visit with some of the other animals here at the shelter during the afternoon while Dr. Sauter is here. But again, Dr. Sauter, thank you so much. Thanks to you, all the great folks at Kulshan Veterinary Hospital. Thanks for taking such good care of Mojo and all of the animals here at our farm. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, while Dr. Sauter's getting Mojo ready for his procedure, we are here with Carly Brewer, who is one of the caretakers here at the farm facility, and also in her spare time, when she's not here at the farm 24/7, she's the Whatcom Humane Society Outreach and Volunteer Manager. And we are here with Lucy, who is a great horse who also nibbles, so it might make for some great TV here. But Carly, first, thanks for being here and for all your work on behalf of all these animals. Tell us about Lucy.
Lucy is a 14-year-old BLM Mustang. She came to us in May. You can see the scar on her face. She had a halter embedded in her face for being too tight too long when she first came in. She was pretty untouchable in the beginning, and as you can see now, she's doing really, really well. Lucy is looking for her forever home. She definitely needs a home with some horse experience. Maybe some Mustang experience. I know they have a particular attitude. She is super friendly. She's getting quite affectionate, actually, but she's definitely headstrong. So she needs someone with some experience. She's not for a first-time horse owner or for a child, for sure. She is not broke to ride, but we think that she definitely could be with the proper training. Possibly some professional training would be good for her. She stands really nicely to be groomed, but she does have some issues lifting up her feet for the farrier, which we are working on. She's a little defiant when it comes to her feet, but other than that, she's a great horse just looking for someone to love her.
We have some great video that some of our farm volunteers took of her. We're going to show it to you now, of her in the round pen here at the farm facility doing her thing. And you know, if you see a horse here today on Pet Watch or you're interested in adopting a horse, what you need to do is go to whatcomhumane.org, go to the animals available for adoption. You can see the horses and the pigs and the alpacas or whatever else we may have available for adoption. If you're interested in meeting these animals, you can then email Carly at farm@whatcomhumane.org, submit an application, and then Carly will get in contact with you, set up a meet and greet, and you can meet some of these amazing animals like Lucy. Thanks so much, Carly.
boys are going to have an additional canine. They're going to have 40 boys. The size of the place is this size of you. So that I can think, so these are the sizes. 3 in each corner. Total 12. And then you can see his canine tooth over here to the side. We've got one of those in each corner. Alright. Hey, champ. You can hold that. Just be careful if he throws his head, he doesn't hit you with this chunk of metal. Just gonna set this real loose. You look in there, you can see that all the cheek teeth are uneven, all different lengths. We call that a wave mouth. Some of the teeth are worn to the gum line, other teeth are overly long. I'm going to try to do a little grinding, we'll see. That might get it to stand on me. Just talk to me a little So with these older horses, you have to be very careful not to do too much. You just basically want to take off the really sharp edges that poke into his cheek and that poke into his tongue. So the temptation is to really lower that tooth a lot more. But because he's so old, I want to be very conservative. I just take a little bit off, a couple millimeters, and mostly I'm just smoothing it out.
Alright.
Same thing on this side. You can hold this on this side. We're just about done. Careful, he doesn't fall down. We are just about done, okay?
Just hang in there, buddy.
And then we'll leave you alone.
Just hang in there, kiddo.
So he's about as hard and difficult as one he could possibly get. So we got an extreme example. He has to be drugged to the max, and then he's still struggling. Some horses, they don't really mind it that much. You just drug them lightly, and they'll stand there and let you do your work. And a lot of times they feel better right away when you're done. But like I say, his teeth are so far gone, there's no way we can correct the problems. All we can do is try to make him more comfortable. You know, those 6 teeth in each, the 6 cheek teeth that are in each row, the 3 premolars and the 3 molars, there's in each row of teeth, they're all supposed to be the same length. And you know, you can see on him there's a huge difference. He's got teeth that are really long, other teeth that are worn completely to the gum line. So there's no way his mouth can function properly. So he would need special food in order to keep weight on him. And that's why you guys are succeeding and getting weight on him, is because you're feeding him special feed designed for horses with dental problems like these.
So, Dr. Sauter, the procedure is done. How did Mojo do?
He did fairly well. We did get through it safely. I did want to point out, though, that he's kind of an extreme case as far as his fear of contact with his mouth and his muzzle, and he had to be sedated quite heavily. So that makes him look pretty unstable on his feet. And we used our judgment to make sure we can get through the procedure safely, and I was just able to do that. But I wanted to point out that, most of the dentistries we do on horses are not this extreme. Most of the time, we don't have to worry as much about the fear and with their coordination as we did today with him.
Well, and so if somebody's watching this and says, I don't want my horse to go through something like that, that's not necessarily normal. And what are some things that people can do? Start early, preventative care, things like that?
I think the older horse that hasn't ever had any dental care, they're the hardest cases. And by hardest, I mean the ones that are most likely to be very resistant and afraid. If we start dentistry at a younger age, they seem to go along with the procedure better, and they learn that they learn something, they remember the procedure from 1 year to the next, and we don't have as much difficulty getting the work done safely.
So he made it through. He's going to need a couple more of these procedures, and like you were saying, he's never really going to have normal teeth, correct?
His teeth are beyond repair. All I can do now is try to keep his mouth as comfortable as possible so he gets the best use of those teeth that he can, and to make sure there aren't any loose teeth that need to be pulled.
Well, thank you for taking such good care of him. And folks, again, thanks to Kulshan Veterinary Hospital and Dr. Sauter. And if you'd like to support Mojo and the other horses like him in our care, go to whatcomhumane.org. So one of my favorite animals is pigs. They are so cool. They are intelligent, they're clean, they're sassy, they're opinionated, and this girl is no exception. Her name is Tumbleweed. Yep. She's here with her favorite person, Brandon, one of the caretakers here at our farm. She came to us. She was picked up as a stray by animal control, arrived last fall. We thought she had been hit by a car because, as you can see, her legs don't work very well. Folks at Kulshan Vet came out and determined that these were very old injuries that healed improperly. Not much they can do about it. She's not in any pain, but she does have a limp on 2 of her legs. She loves peanuts, and she is a fun girl. Brandon, you spend a lot of time with her. What can you tell us about her?
She's a very vocal pig. She'll come in, she'll talk to you if you talk to her. She's very friendly. She has no fear of humans. Loves her belly scratched. She's a little bit of a pester. She likes to be right where you are, but she's very sweet, very friendly. Loves to hang out in her straw all day and just eat food and talk to you all day is what she does.
So tell us a misconception about pigs. People think, oh my gosh, you can't have a pig as a pet. She won't recognize you. She doesn't like people, all that. You spend a lot of time with her. What's something folks should know about this little girl?
Pigs are like most animals. As long as you're friendly with them and they know that you're a safe person and you spend quality time and you just hang out and are nice to them, they're fairly receptive. Pigs are really, really smart, highly intelligent. They'll catch on to anything you want to teach them. They're actually a very clean animal. That's what most people say is, oh, pigs are so dirty and stinky, and they're actually one of the cleanest animals, I think.
She loves her straw, and we'll leave here and we'll come back and check on her. She'll burrow into it. And again, I know that limp looks a little severe, but again, the folks at Kulshan Vet tell us that she's okay. She's looking for a great home that will treat her like a valued family companion where she will not end up on the dinner table. She'd love a home with another pig or another livestock animal to hang out with. And as you can see, she has got a lot on her mind. She's very intelligent, and she really wants to make sure that people are following local politics right now because it's very important. If she had a TV, I would guess, Brandon, you tell me, I think she would watch PBS.
Probably.
Yeah.
PBS, Discovery Channel, you know.
Absolutely. None of that Lifetime made-for-TV movies. This girl is intelligent, and she wants to keep up on current events. So just a reminder, folks, at the Whatcom Humane Society, we're an open admission shelter and no animals turned away, so you never know what's going to come through our doors looking for a second chance at a great new life. If you're interested in meeting Tumbleweed, visit our website, whatcomhumane.org, and you can email Carly or Brandon at farm@whatcomhumane.org. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Well, that was our show. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, thanks to Russ Nelson, our producer extraordinaire, for coming out here on this chilly day and filming. Want to thank Brandon and Carly, our caretakers here at our horse facility, Dr. Sauter, and all the wonderful folks at Kulshan Veterinary Hospital for taking such great care of these animals. And just a reminder, folks, if you're looking to adopt anything from a hamster to a horse, always check the Whatcom Humane Society first. You never know what animals might come through the doors of our domestic animal shelter, our farm facility, and don't forget about the wild animals in our care as well at our Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. They don't need homes, but they definitely need your support. For more information about the Whatcom Humane Society and all of the animals that we take care of, big and small, visit our website at whatcomhumane.org. I'm Laura Clark. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Pet Watch.